What is the subject matter for today, anyway?
The subject matter for today is
We're live. It's a podcast.
Yeah, we turned it on.
All you really need is 5 people sitting in front of cameras with mics, and you can have a podcast.
Well, I mean, Chris is drinking some sort of Orange Crush. We've got the leader in the AFC West. We have the runner-up right now in the AFC West. And we have the proud owners of the greatest margin of victory ever in league history. It's a very exciting podcast.
So ridiculous.
Anyways, it's been a minute. It's been a fun part of the start of the season, so it's time to get one of these going. So we got 5 on to start tonight. Very exciting. Chris, Commissioner, welcome.
I'm here. It's good to be back.
Co-commissioner, I guess. Can I call you Commissioner? Can I go Commissioner? Is Jeremy going to yell at me if I call you Commissioner?
You can call me Commish. I'll deal with Jeremy. I think it'll be fine. I mean, what's he gonna do? Dodge another podcast?
Whew, probably. It's very likely.
I'm going to say, in the time I was riding back to get back to this podcast, I thought I saw Jeremy in the video chat channel.
Oh, he was
there. He was
just hanging out.
He was full on involved with our group chat, and
then it was, I don't think I'm going to be able to stick around for the podcast. And then he sensed your arrival and left.
Spidey sensed you.
Anyways, Bill.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On your division. This is very exciting for you.
It feels good. I did not expect to be here. But I'm looking forward to maintaining it.
What do you mean you didn't expect to be here? You didn't make moves thinking you were going to be here?
I remember in the off season there was the power rankings breakdown between you and RJ, and RJ was the only one that believed in me to be a borderline playoff team. So I will give you credit for that. But yeah, I will probably hold this position tied with Matt for the next 2 weeks, and then he'll probably take it over from there, because I don't have the depth, man. Sammy Watkins will fall off somewhere. I'll die, and that'll be that.
You are lacking the needed confidence to be on this podcast.
Oh, no. I have the confidence, but I don't have the faith in Sammy Watkins, especially after I turned down the Cordero Patterson deal that Matt ended up with, and it backfired in my face.
I didn't even know if CPAT was available. I was pissed when I saw that happen. Like, thank God he didn't go to someone else in my division.
It just backfired
this
so
close
bad.
to kicking him off the podcast as soon as he started talking shit about CPAT, but
no, it just backfired on me. I'm not talking shit. It just backfired. I turned down Patterson to take Sammy Watkins, and what a terrible mistake that ended up being.
So Sammy Watkins is always a good decision. For something.
Those are the most expensive points anybody will ever have on a team.
Well, probably DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I've been shopping around, and that Hopkins deal is it's like Zeke's old deal where you're getting a good player, but you're paying a lot for that good player.
Yeah, no, but I'm excited. I'm happy that Mahomes took down his former home in week 1. That's what matters to me.
Very nice. And RJ.
Yes.
Your team did something this week. I'm not going to say what it was, but it was certainly something.
I'm very proud of my team. It feels really good to say that that a player in this league has outscored my team so far for 2 weeks. So that's awesome. Yeah. I've accomplished two of my goals in the first 2 weeks.
What do you do with all your free time now? You've got nothing left to trade. You've got no more records to break. Like, what are you gonna do?
I have a rankings board for draft picks for next year, and I slowly comb through that every week. I do have a couple other fantasy teams that need tended to, so I spend a couple of minutes on those, and then I sit there and I look at my future draft picks and I think what I could potentially do with them.
You know, I've seen that happen before. I have a team like that where it's, oh, look at all these future players I have. Look how fun this game's going to be in 16 years when all of my middle school Devy picks are actually in the NFL.
So RJ, I took a look and I was actually shocked that you only have 2 first-round picks next year.
Yes.
And you've got 1 first-round pick the year after. You got to hit everything in round 2.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
I'm fine with that.
To be fair, if he makes 15 second-round picks, the odds of him hitting on those pretty high at some amount.
I have
You're saying there's a chance.
And you can dodge the first round draft capital bump, the 5th-year option bump on there. I mean, it's genius, actually.
I have a lot of faith in a lot of different things. I have faith in me finding a couple of gems in free agency over the next few years. I have confidence in my drafting abilities. I think a lot of the better owners in this league feel the same way when they make picks, or at least Matt does, because he's always shipping veterans for picks. And I'm kind of in the same boat. I feel confident in my ability to pick players, so I think I'm doing all right. Sure, I'd love to have more first-round picks, so everybody should send any excess ones my way. I can't give you anything for them right now, but we'll work something out.
The Philadelphia Donation of First-Round Pick Association Eagles is open and ready for business.
So I
But,
feel like we need to start putting conditional statements on our trades that we can do, just like the NFL.
Oh God, don't do that.
I'm sorry.
Don't do that.
How
Terrible.
fun would this
I'm
be?
Chris,
down
did
with
you just
that.
try to make your job harder?
Just think about how much excitement we could have on I
No.
will give you a second,
Yeah.
which turns into a conditional first. If the just
And then-
imagine.
And
I'm
then
pretty sure
everybody's
Jeremy
spending
just threw
90.
something at you virtually.
What was
and then
that?
we're
I'm pretty sure Jeremy just threw something at you virtually.
Well, we've already called me Kamish, so I think we're past that.
You be careful with that one, bud.
so
I've seen what happens to people that cross them.
We'll be welcoming a new Bengals owner in a couple
Welcome
weeks
back.
here.
Welcome back. Yes.
So I don't want conditions into our trades, because then everybody's salary will be roughly $100 million while we're eating $74 million worth of players we traded away.
What do you mean?
So that's just going to be an abomination eventually.
And it'll be an issue of well, you can't trade your first round. Well, you can trade your first round pick, but then what happens when it's you can't and you can, but you can't, and it's okay, what can I trade because I made a conditional trade with my second that it turns into a first if player does this, but I traded my first, so now is it a future first? And can I trade my future first? Can I just push this off forever, or do I just trade them my first now and that second comes back to me and now I have a second that I get to use? And
I resemble that.
Imagine.
Chris, man, if you want to deal with all that, please be my guest. I will make it
imagine.
Do you know how
hard
many?
as possible.
Do you know how many first round picks I'm going to offer with a top 31 condition to it? If it's not the 32nd pick in the draft, it keeps getting kicked back to 2035.
All right. Well,
Oh man.
Matt, how's life?
Oh, that's fine. I'm exactly where I thought I'd be.
Second place.
Well,
Second
Whoa.
place in the FC West.
3-1. There's some player concerns performance-wise I have, but I mean, I've had other players. I got a free fucking running back starter in Elijah Mitchell, basically, which is nice.
That I saw that. That's quite the turn.
I mean, isn't he already hurt again?
Yeah, but he's the one
every-
49ers running back that's still healthy for next week. So
Kind
I
of.
thought he was injured as well. I thought it was
I
everybody.
mean, he
but
messed
Carry
up
On.
his shoulder, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry On's the only officially healthy person.
Trent Cannon.
Trenton Cannon.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
so on a serious note, who aren't you happy with so far on your team? Who's not up to par?
I mean, Brandon Ayuk has 3.6 points, so
It's not good, Bob.
that's not good. That's not good. We need that boy to get healthy so he can get back into our practice regimen. And we can get him up to speed on gameplay, and he can beat out Trent Sherfield.
I was gonna say he's got nothing on Trent.
Apparently, yeah, but he is getting back into the snap counts though. He was second in the wide receivers last week, so.
So is his whole issue just injury, not coming back?
So it depends on who you ask. If you ask people that are rational thinking human beings that don't chase airplanes to try and find out where people are signing in free agency, he had a hamstring injury in training camp. He missed a lot of practice there. He was still coming back from it through week 1. He's still maybe coming back from it week 2. And Kyle's very much pushed the he needs to get in there. He needs to be in practice. He needs to get up to speed on what we want to do on offense before we're going to start highlighting him again. But if you want to go in the other train of thought, he was seen boarding the team plane going to Detroit with a PlayStation 5, and so he's in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse and isn't playing and isn't getting targets because he brought a PlayStation with him.
I could believe that. Yeah.
See, but at the same time, though, there's other professional athletes that we know do that, like Tim Duncan, and most of that 90s, early 2000s Spurs team would bring their fucking laptops with them on flights and play WoW and Diablo and shit on the planes. But that's also Tim Duncan and not Brandon Ayuk.
Right. A Hall of Famer.
They were a weird team with a weird coach. So.
Yeah. I mean, the Niners are a weird team with a really weird coach, so I'm not concerned about Brandon's performance rest of season. I just would like him to not be my wide receiver 3.
Well, I'm very disappointed in Antonio Gibson so far. For your team.
What a letdown.
It's been a slow start. He's got to get better though.
I think he's fine. It's just that fucking shit Washington team.
It's that snap count that scares me.
Yeah.
You know what scares me? How are the Jags 0-4?
Because they have Derrick Henry and Carson Wentz and some wide receivers.
Thank you for that top-notch analysis. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, you see, they only have 332 points for Mike.
Well, it's
which
because
is less than the people they played against.
What they need to score to win the game. So because they couldn't score enough to win the game, we
They have to just put more points on the board than the other teams, Mike. It's simple. It's math.
All right. So the issue is it was an AFK owner that didn't make moves. He's got 34 people on his roster, of which about 10 of them are free agents. So you get any warm body playing GM to that team, and you instantly have an extra 50 points a week just from pickups that they do initially here. So
this sounds like a commissioner conversation. So Chris, do we have a warm body coming in? Is this warm body coming back? What's the situation?
So the issue right now is the previous owner has been removed from ownership. The GM is no longer in control of the team. Can't make moves on there due to not fulfilling the responsibilities that an owner should. We've got a couple people that Jeremy is vetting at the moment. So we'll have a new owner shortly within the next week or two. So until then, Jags will continue to wallow in mediocrity until we get an owner in. Hopefully they make moves and choose a direction for the team.
No, I have a question for you.
Am I playing them next week?
No.
This is not going to be a situation like the NBA where the commissioners take ownership of the team and then mix trades. Okay.
No, I've no intent for Jeremy or I to run it. We'll find a real owner. Until then, it will sit as is, so we don't put any influence on it until we bring someone.
What if Pau Gasol was on the market? And then follow-up question: what about Chris Paul?
I mean, we could
work those in.
Next subject.
Next subject.
Oh,
All right, Mike.
Mike, well, how you feel about your team? I mean, you got to be pleased with the start.
How's it feel after that week 1?
Yeah.
I am honored and thrilled that I have the largest and third largest margins of victory in league history. It's not something I was expecting,
All right, cut him off.
but I'll take it.
I,
That said, considering one of my quarterbacks is out with a torn hamstring until week 7 or 8 at the earliest, and the other quarterback may or may not have ribs left on his insides.
God, that hit, man. That was something
Yeah.
else.
Based off of those things, we'll see how I feel about things over the next couple of weeks. But 4-0 is a nice start. Having a 2-game lead on the NFC North is a nice start. But there's a lot of stuff to go.
Now, I would recommend you maybe reach out to the owners of the backups to your two quarterbacks to maybe assuage that problem. But
well, I mean,
So maybe try and get Davis Mills like I was trying to do last week before the price went up. Or let's see,
Or Jacoby.
Jacoby. Who owns
Yeah, good luck with that one now.
Yeah, the guy in the video with you here owns Jacoby.
Hi.
That's doomed.
And you can thank the other guy that's up here for why I still own him. So
So what you're saying is look elsewhere.
no. What I'm saying is post pod trade bullshit is happening more than likely because
Oh, that's really funny.
we always have to do that, and
It's
it's a
very
small
possible.
thing.
without knowing that Jacoby's probably going to go to you. If anybody else was in a situation where they just lost their starting quarterback, I think this is one of the weird times where like
Where
Not
you
that
don't need one. You don't need a starting QB. This is
I was going to
proof
say
that-
you
Yeah,
can
that
go
is
4-0
true.
without a starting quarterback, especially if they start in spot starts. Right, Chris?
but there are enough tanking teams to where you can get one and you shouldn't have to expect to give up, multiple first round picks or anything of that nature.
Yeah, there's some guy that's been spamming the chat saying he's got your quarterback of the future here.
Hmm
He says he keeps saying he has 3 starting.
Agree.
Well, like you have my tanking buddy Steelers, who's still trying to get rid of Matt Ryan.
Matt
So like you
Ryan.
could always go there if you like really bad contracts.
I do like really bad contracts.
it's high.
And not bad by anybody's doing. It just kept inflating.
It just
and
is,
nobody
yeah.
realized it.
You've got plenty of cap space to take it on too.
Yeah. Go out and get yourself a gently used $30 million Jameis Winston from the Panthers.
Or Taysom.
A Taysom, the $37 million 3-point man for the Seattle Seahawks.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I don't know necessarily what Giants is doing, but they have a lot of FAs on their roster. So I'd imagine Taylor Heineke might be on the market.
He switched to rebuilding. Like he switched
Yeah.
that week 1.
Yeah,
Right.
he's definitely trying to sell Taylor for sure.
Yep.
So there's a
He
lot
said
of
as much.
there's a lot of terrible teams that have quarterbacks. So like that would be one of the positions that, even though it is scarce for our league, there seems to be a variety of them available.
Speaking of quarterbacks due to injury, Chris, how do you feel about finally getting a chance to play QB1 Justin Fields this week?
I don't know how I feel about it. Like
Liar.
He's going to be
I-
better than everybody else that came in this year.
I don't know how I feel about the quarterback I took 3rd overall actually starting this week.
okay,
Liar.
no. Here's what I
Full of all of the shit.
here's what I mean by that is, yes, I'm excited he's going to start. What I would hate is to see what he does while starting and then watch him get benched for Dalton when Dalton's not injured because Nagy's an idiot.
No,
They
he's
said they were
100%
gonna-
getting benched for Dalton.
Yeah, they already
And you can
announced
go
that.
back and watch his play last week to see why. There are, like I said, very specific things he fucks up at the line and managing that huddle and actually playing the NFL game that he doesn't have yet.
Yeah,
Once he
doesn't know
gets
how
it,
to
he'll
do
be fine.
Yeah, he
but
doesn't know how to handle the pre-snap like counts or anything like that. It's a little rough, but he's better than Trevor.
Again, the start of this year has worked out how I wanted it to and how I hoped it would, despite all the doom and gloom. I didn't think it would after 5 of my starters went on IR. But I've pulled it off to this point, and I think I've got a big enough buffer that I can get through a few more weeks without him this year. Because again, the next 2 teams are 2-2 behind me, so I've got a couple game buffer there for me. So I'm happy. Hope week 3 goes well. Like if I start 6-0, like they can sit Justin Fields down for another 2-3 weeks. That's fine as long as he's back by playoff time in this league.
You play the Chiefs and the Raiders. I'm pretty sure you're going to be 6-0.
Yeah, they don't have many points for. Like I've looked at their team. Like it should be 6-0. But then week 4, discussing pre-pod, I'm playing Matt and Texans, who are both solid teams. So it's not a cakewalk, but as long as you hit the playoffs and we've got, 7 teams from each conference, it doesn't really matter at this point.
The issue with this week, I guess, for you is that both those, well, I guess not really so much the Chiefs because he actually doesn't have defensive ends.
He actually doesn't. Go look at his team.
He's got 3. One of them's on the IR. So, but like that Raiders team can pop.
Yeah.
So, but that's basically every team in this league. But those
Yep.
teams too, specifically, like they've had kind of, I don't want to say low weeks because I don't think they're performing that much below where they should be, but they have teams that can go boom real good.
Teams that can go boom real good.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
my-
if Justin Jefferson starts acting like the wide receiver 1 on that team and not the wide receiver 3, that'll probably get him a few more points.
That might help. All right.
Yeah.
What is the biggest surprise? Bill?
Yeah, I am the biggest surprise. You're right.
No, you're not the
No,
biggest
just
surprise.
in
Are you the
the
biggest
league.
surprise? Is that your answer?
No. Like for the league, I don't know.
In general,
man.
so far. 4 games into the season. What's your biggest
Oh.
surprise?
4 games into the season is I guess it's not surprising to me specifically. It's surprising about how bad Urban Meyer and Trevor pair together. They don't pair well. Urban is lost, and I knew he would be bad because like college coaches don't transition well usually, but this is something else. I am surprised by how terrible it looks there.
Well, rumor is he's not interested in the USC
In
job.
USC, yeah.
Unfortunately for everybody involved in Jackson.
Bullshit!
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I know I'm not high on Trevor. I know I've said that plenty of times in the past, but I think that he'd be doing better if it wasn't Urban Meyer. I think the fact that I'm surprised by how poorly they mesh.
RJ, who's your biggest overachiever?
Texans in our league.
Well, and again, I knew you were going to say it because they were leading the division in the AFC North.
They were old and washed up in our power rankings podcast, and I don't know what the hell happened because the names didn't change. Just everybody just seemed to become competent football players again. Mark Ingram is like really surprising. I mean, the rest of the offense isn't like shocking, but just like KJ Wright found a job. Like all the linebackers showed up and produced. So I'm shocked by this team.
Calvin's got a job. All right. Matt,
So-
who's the team that you don't want to play right now?
The Vikings, what the fuck? Outside, are you saying like outside the teams that we know are good?
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
Or I mean, answer however you want to. I mean, I'm kind of throwing open-ended questions here. So,
I mean, I definitely don't want to play Vikings, Falcons, Washington. Probably that 49ers team if somehow Andy Dalton, Nick Foles comes back to playing, just because like they're still sitting at 3-1 and all of their running backs have just repeatedly shit themselves playing NFL football. So a couple of those guys get back to actually being like NFL players, specifically Ronald Jones. He's got a nice little like core going on there. Gronkowski's still some sort of fucking freak monster, and just all he does is catch touchdowns.
And apparently, he won't take a third-round pick for him. So
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't take a third-round pick for Gronkowski. I'd take a second, but not a third.
But again, you won't take a third, but you would take a second. Is it kind of like do I have to give a third with a third to get Gronk? Like,
No, I
wouldn't
think
take
it's
two thirds. It needs to be a second.
yeah.
I think
it
it's
has
two.
to be a second because it's that value of player that you're getting there in a second. That it's not going to be Gronk, but it's going to be like the tight ends 2 through 3. If you want to go tight end, it's going to be the non-first and second round, probably day one, right? Or like the not day one, early day 2 wide receivers, unless somebody falls for some reason. It's just the quality of player drops tremendously from the second to the third in our draft, in the sense like there's going to be a handful of guys in the third that are any good, while in the second it's maybe half see usable startable weeks in their rookie contract. While in the third it's just generally a nosedive.
Most of you can't trade for him because I have most of the seconds in the league.
See if I'm Matt right now, I go try to trade for Gronk to round out your team.
I mean, who's to say I haven't?
I'm sure you have, but I'm just saying. Like looking at your team, tight. Like if you can fill in your tight end, then you've got
Either Jacoby Brissett comes in and remembers that Mike Gesicki's a really good tight end, or I trade for a tight end.
Yep.
well,
But even
Chris,
even before Brissett came
you're
in.
screwing up my transition here. I'm trying to do something here, and you're screwing up my transition.
Well, fine.
Sorry, go ahead.
You
What's
continue, Mike.
the deal that needs to be made
What do you mean?
in general? Is there an obvious trade that needs to be made? Is it Matt looking for a tight end? Is it me looking for a quarterback? What's the obvious trade that needs to be made?
Probably the
Chris,
Bengals looking for a running back. Oh,
is your name Chris?
hey, you say words, I say words. That's how this works, Mike.
I say words and you listen?
No.
Okay, well, there we go. Chris,
Yes.
is there an obvious trade you think needs to be made?
No, I think everyone can stand pat.
Okay, cool. Matt, would you like to comment?
I think Chris needs to find a QB now, because I think that Fields is going to continue to have the issue he does, and I think Chris will feel more comfortable if he has a QB now versus trying to trade for one at the deadline when people are like, oh, I see you're trying to compete this year. I also see that Justin Fields fumbles snaps left and right and can't manage an actual clock. Yeah, I'm going to bump that price up for you because you've been competitive, so go fuck yourself. Or his little running back thing. Probably want to get a running back too, which is...
You're way too pessimistic on Fields this year. He'll be fine
Agreed.
halfway through.
It's those aren't things that you just like pick up though.
He'll be
And-
fine.
Those are things that like immediately catch the eye of like, this is problematic that we need to not have. And like Andy Dalton's been good.
Yeah. Again, and
He's been
it's
good.
happened to me in a couple of trade offers. I've tried to make some deals using, like, say, Jerry Jeudy, or before I had moved him, Bateman, as kind of first round picks in deals. And it's kind of like, oh, you could really use this player. I'm going to ask for your 23 first also.
So going back one topic to most surprising things in the league. Most surprising thing to me is the AFC East. There are 3 teams in that division that are actually really good right now. I mean, the only reason this Dolphin is 2-2 is because I had to put up 270 to beat them because they put up 258 or whatever here this week, and he's third highest, or he's ranked third in that division. Like it's a solid crew they got going on right now between Bills, Jets, Dolphins.
Jets is going to be a tough thing to keep going. It's Goff and Adams that is really buoying that offense. Cook
And Cooks.
But
and then anyone
he's-
who's ever played running back for the 49ers at the running back position.
But it's not that bad. Like looking at it, like it's
No,
a best ball
it's-
team.
Yeah, it's not a terrible team. It's not. I don't know. I wouldn't be comfortable like rolling that type of team into the season, but I don't hate it.
Like, yeah,
It's
just
not-
to date after 4 games, 2 weeks in. I mean, the points for it is very respectable.
For them to be comparable to the Dolphins record-wise is kind of a surprise. For Bills to be ahead of both of them is a little bit of a surprise for me. Not both of them, but for Bills to be ahead of Dolphins. So, like, I agree. Just that division, in the sense that we all kind of figured Dolphins was just going to run away with it, and they'd be one of those 4-0 teams with like an insurmountable lead by week 2. And that's not the case. And it's breath of fresh air in that division.
God, those are some dirty fucking running back contracts on that Dolphins team.
Mm-hmm.
Paul,
Yeah.
for now, that
That's-
Barkley contract becomes really gross in a year.
So
And
this,
Jalen Hurts. it's
yeah,
not a
this
rookie
worked out
deal.
so well with him with the Hurts deal. With Hurts actually looking like he'll have a couple years, and then it's that roster with those contracts, like he can do whatever he wants.
Except he has 6 total points from the tight end position.
Well, you can't have everything.
And like that, yeah, like the tight. We've talked about this before. That like the tight end positions kind of were, like the teams that win generally have a top 5 tight end, but the
Mhm.
teams that make it there generally also don't necessarily need one.
Like
Right.
Kelsey is essentially my quarterback for my positional advantage right now.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm winning.
Gotcha. Let's see. Anything else that really jumps out season wise so far? Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, Panthers. 3 of them.
I'm kind of shocked at Panthers' record. I thought they would have won more games.
I
All
thought they
the
would have
moves that
traded a QB.
Yep.
So Sam Darnold, Matt Stafford, Jameis Winston. You still have Damian Harris, and then secondary running backs there, Mike Evans and Tyler Boyd,
Like
and then a defense like
the,
that defense. Like, oh, wow, like is
What
it
are
you
linebackers?
letting anyone else down as badly as this defense is letting
it,
them down?
it's tragic. He hasn't got points from tight end to DT or linebacker, really.
Wow,
Essentially,
Quinion
every week.
Williams only has 6 points.
It's
Mhm.
Yeah, he's been super disappointing this year.
Wow.
There's a lot of guys right now that are seen as, I don't want to say studs, but in like
Yeah.
a league like
But
this,
top end
defensive
talent.
studs
Yeah,
Right.
that just aren't
or not.
performing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like some players are popping off, but then like just from my team, like DeForest Buckner, he had a fantastic week 1,
Yeah.
and then he gave me 7 points last week.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like there's like JJ Watt, another guy who I came into the season depending on to be like a starter for me week to week at the end. I have 9.5 points out of him.
I mean, there's just been like some surprising, especially like on the IDP side, some surprising snap counts, things like that. Like we're talking about Panthers. Chase Winovich, Like a lot of people kind of figured it by the signings, but like he was somebody that you'd consider like a quality young linebacker, had a good future, and then Henry Anderson came in, and there was another free agent signing there. And Bill just wants to play with his new toys that have been in his division for, previous years. And he just forgets about his young up and comers. And what is it? Who's the linebacker? Nick Vigil. Like that's like. Did anybody see?
Solid.
Did anybody see 89+% snap count from him? Like he seemed to be the rotational linebacker.
He's gonna be what he's gonna be what my linebacker was last year on the Vikings. So when I had Eric Wilson who filled in, and got all those snaps for the Vikings. Like Mike Zimmer will play whoever slots in and can fill the role. And
that Anthony Barr role is very impressive, unless it's Anthony Barr.
Hey. We'll see about that when he actually gets to play. All right.
I mean, Vigil's going to be it this year. Like it's a very productive position in the Vikings defense, and I mean, like hindsight's 2020, but like looking ahead, he'll end up in LB1 by the end of the year.
Yeah,
on here, and he's $1 million contract. It's insane.
I will say this: I'm very surprised that the Steelers is tanking and they're still holding Matt Ryan.
Well, it's not. It's not because he's holding on to it. Like
I know he's trying so hard. I'm amazed no one's taking him.
The issue is we've gotten to the point in this league where teams are either myself, Bengals, you, Falcons, Washington, Vikings, or like the next tier below, like the Jeremys, the Bills, the Dolphins, the kind of Texans, Titans, where we're comfortable with our team and we like know where we're going with it, except for Jeremy, who we'll find out in week 7 right before the trade deadline where he wants to go. But everyone else kind of has realized that like there's such a gap between like top 6 teams.
Oh, he's listening.
Teams here.
He's listening.
Oh God. Am I getting flamed now? Period. Jeremy, you know it's true.
Jeremy, do we need to send you the link? You want to come in and defend yourself?
But like the other teams in the league have just realized it's pointless to trade for Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan doesn't move the gap between them and that top tier. And so we've got like a growing class of tankers who some like RJ are going.
They're none like me. Don't put my name in a conversation with anybody else.
Bill tried it last year, all right?
I did it last year.
Bill's leading the division right now.
Bill, you tried what RJ was doing last year. You did not do what RJ is doing last year.
No, I didn't go as hard. I didn't think I needed to. I didn't realize I would be outdone within 3 weeks.
You got close to 1,000 points last year. Points for. I don't know if RJ breaks 500. But like there's just so many teams that are either just like sitting and just waiting, or they're just actively trying to tank to where there's not like we've gone past the point of there was 32 teams, every team wanted a quarterback, to now there's a dozen teams that want quarterbacks and 20-ish teams that they'll take a quarterback if it comes to them at the right price. But they're not going to actively go out and buy a Matt Ryan or some of the more expensive guys.
Well, it was also one of the weird situations, and like I hate to be like, oh, it was me, but like I kind of covered a lot of the quarterback necessities just by like churning through veteran quarterbacks because I sent Cam off to the Dolphins, and at that point I had gotten like Ben Roethlisberger back. And I sent Ben off to somebody else that needed a quarterback. So, like, There was a point where like if anybody else wanted to tank and like we were in preseason times that had like a veteran quarterback, they weren't moving that quarterback because I had churned through like 5 different quarterbacks at that point. I had traded Jameis Winston off. Sure, it was the Panthers, but I mean it was in the off season where everybody has hopes to compete.
Yep.
And just nobody else had an opportunity to move quarterback. So now there are these teams that are like, oh, I'm a tanking team, and I probably should have been moving this quarterback a while ago.
Yeah, right now an average vet QB is probably the hardest asset to move in the league because of Matt's point of we've got the obvious people that are competing that are happy with their team, and then no one that's tanking is going to buy them. I mean, the next opportunity you'll get to move them is when we have old owners drop off, new people come in, they think they can make a push, right when they join up on their team and want to make their mark. That's when you're going to get to move them. I don't think we're going to see another vet QB moved this season, barring a significant injury to a starter on one of our competing teams. Because unlike Matt's view of my team, I'm not going to go pay for an average backup QB. I'll just roll the odds with Fields starting prior to the playoffs. And I'm fine rolling those odds. And then all the rest of you that are competing are fine with what you got. So it's very interesting that a QB isn't in demand in a 32-team league.
Yeah.
It's just the current dynamics.
Yeah.
And that'll completely change by, in 6 months. We will be talking about a completely different scenario where quarterbacks are worth their weight in gold and maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Where a $30 million contract won't seem that bad because, hey, you're getting a starting quarterback with, some years ahead of him.
Right.
All right.
It's been 40 minutes. Any particular points people want to touch on?
I have 2 first-round picks. Sell me good players.
I'm more likable than that. Sell me good players.
If Chris has won the league, I haven't. Sell me good players.
Bill's the current leader of the
That's right.
The West. Sell him good players.
That's right. I have 1 pick left over the next 2 years. I'll happily sell it for the right price.
What pick is that you got left?
I have a 23 first.
And you still have your first from there. Okay.
I do. So come and get it.
Trade me all players on IR that don't have Achilles injuries.
All right, now we're just begging.
All right. Well, we'll get the post pod trade conversation started. I mean, that's what the four observers are at least watching for. They're not watching because they want to listen to us. They want to get involved in some trades.
Who the fuck is watching?
Well, it's Jeremy.
Look, Jeremy, we've talked.
Somebody trade Jeremy a kick returner.
What?
Why? I don't want to do that.
Because he doesn't have an active one, and I hate to see it.
It's not a slot though.
Kick returner.
I mean, it's points, and it's a wide receiver.
Somebody that returns kicks.
I was happy Khalil Herbert returned kicks week 1 and then nothing week 2.
Hey man, Brandon Ayuk returned a punt that one time.
Did he?
Good news. Jeremy is typing right now.
Oh boy,
Pharaoh.
Yeah,
Pharaoh let me down.
Oh my god.
He needs a replacement.
Hold on, RJ, you're the one who has Pharaoh Cooper as your tight end right now, right?
No, Pharaoh Cooper is on Jeremy's roster because he has Pharaoh Cooper in every single league.
That was my thought. Is every single league he's got Pharaoh, and Pharaoh is now a tight end someplace.
No, that's a different person. That's Pharaoh Brown.
Same thing.
No, Pharaoh Cooper is a unsigned wide receiver that just does punt returns.
No, exactly.
Same as Des Fitzpatrick, who's going to be on his roster for 4 more years.
He's going to hold him there for 4 years just as a, Matt, I know you wanted the pick that I took this guy with, and I didn't trade him to you, and now I'm going to sit on him, and as he does nothing. Despite you. I love you, Jeremy. Mwah.
All right. I think we ran out of content. I think we reached the point.
I mean, we went through the content quite quickly, and I mean, it was enjoyable content. I think everyone enjoyed. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Bill, did you enjoy yourself?
I had a great time. I can't wait to do it again.
No.
I have a little bit of content I can offer.
But offer content there, Chief.
I was given a little bit of heat for tagging a kicker. I have the number one kicker in the league right now with that tagged kicker. Thank you very much.
By your ranking, you're number one, but I have
No.
a kicker in the league because his name is Young Ho. So
He's got the most points. The Raiders team.
don't say
30
that.
Point
30.4
differential
points.
here.
My
Well, it's
kicker's name is Young Ho.
1.4, so it's 0.7 a week.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Jesus. It's ridiculous.
How about them apples?
God, I
How
will
about
actually
them
point out
apples?
you've got, you're scoring an average of 15 a week. My team kicker is scoring 7.1. What is wrong with my team?
And my cornerback that I tagged is in the top 4. He's number 13 right now at cornerback.
this just in. What's wrong with Chris's team?
What's wrong?
Uh,
I actually like my scrappy little team. It's always undervalued.
not bad.
They put together enough points to compete.
Yep,
It makes
and
it fun.
It'll be fun this year until you again don't have a quarterback when it starts mattering.
Why
and-
am I not going to have a quarterback?
Because Justin Fields is not going to start the back end of the season.
There's no way that Justin Fields isn't starting after week
Andy
8.
Dalton would have to die.
I fully
You know-
disagree with that.
You
that
you
take.
know what's going to happen, right? He's going
Yeah, I know
light up-
Justin Fields is going to come in and play this week. He's going to have the
Yeah.
same snap issues. They're going to be
Nope.
like, wow, we can't have a
Nope.
quarterback who gets fucking false starts and delays of games and doesn't actually receive the snap on time. Get him back
No.
into training. Bring Andy
They-
Dalton back in because he was
No,
fine.
No, he's going to light up the Browns. Statistically, he's going to light up the Browns, and then they have the Lions the week after, and he's going to dominate them. And then he's never going to give the job back. And that's
What?
how it's going to go.
So the Browns.
Yeah.
They're
They're
ranked
going to make him
22nd
look
for
like
their.
shit.
Yeah,
The real life Browns.
I know.
yeah.
He's gonna light up the real life Browns.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I'm not as optimistic
the
as
Fields-Robinson
Bill
connection
is,
going to come to life.
but Matt's undisputed hate because he missed out on him in the draft is unwarranted.
He had his opportunity.
I could have taken Justin Fields if I
You
wanted him
could've.
that bad.
Yep.
He's QB1, man.
But
I'm telling
he's
you guys.
doing the exact thing. If he's QB1, trade him Mahomes.
It's
No, I
You
gave
you call for it,
Fields
but-
for Mahomes.
Fields
I'm
will
building
end
around the
up
most
on
expensive
Fields
quarterback
will end up on Bill's team by the trade deadline.
as a
and then-
backup.
Matt will just be incensed that this is happening.
Oh, I'll quit the league on the spot if fucking Pat Mahomes ends up on Chris's team. You can put that in writing. I will quit the league on the spot. And then my team would go on to win the Super Bowl, and the new guy's just sitting there like, oh, I got a free couple $100 out of this. Sick.
That's how it goes.
I think that's how it's gonna end up. All right,
That is how it ends up. So
You wanna
Oh,
close this
man.
out, Mike.
if you insist, I mean, RJ's moved on to do his
RJ's gone.
podcast
No, I'm
activities.
still here.
He just didn't want to partake in the debate.
Hurry up
And-
and sign off before the smoke starts billowing into the stream.
All right. Well, it was a good check-in. I think we'll have another one in a couple of weeks here, but it's been a minute, so I'm glad we could actually get this done. Thank you all for joining, and congratulations on your successes so far. And good luck to the next couple of weeks. But in the meantime, hasta lasagna. Don't get any on you.